with the story of Uber, not to promote Uber. I'm not here to promote any particular business model, particularly a libertarian one, but that I wanted to point out that this has migrated now to private aviation or to public aviation, to the aviation world, and now into the area of public aviation. And it raises questions about whether we really need the TSA, at least in its current form, or anywhere near as draconian as it is. And Steve, it says here you're a charter pilot, and you wanted to correct me on some things. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It's the first time I got a chance to listen to your show, but you correct in some of the idea how the charter companies work and how they don't work. Anybody can charter an aircraft, but once you do so, you do have to go through very stringent TSA background checks. First, they check you against a whole bunch of lists, check criminal records and everything else first before you're even allowed to be put on the manifest. Then, as far as payment goes, you can't pay with cash or credit cards. You can only pay by wire transfer from a bank.
I think, Steve, you are speaking for your particular company, because I know that this service that I have subscribed to, I can pay with a credit card, and I am a member, and nobody has done any background check on me. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, if you're with like Blackjack and some of these others that try to help cover up extra lift that companies have, once you come up with a member, even though they don't say anything to you, you do go through a TSA background check. It's required for any charter aircraft flight.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nobody can just kind of willy-nilly get on.
So they just do it and don't tell you.
Exactly. You're not told. Part of the contract you sign is that they're allowed to run you through the proper. It's just like.
So it's sort of like TSA pre.
I'm sorry?
So it's sort of like TSA pre.
Correct. You do a pre-clearance check before you're allowed to get on the aircraft.
Yeah.
Every time you fly, they still, even though they know you and they know who you are, and you could be Donald Trump or someone who's famous, you still have to go through these background checks first before each time you get on an aircraft.
Well, then why don't we just do that for all general aviation? I guess that would be cumbersome. Actually, we're moving in that direction. I mean, I went out and I got my my Global Traveler or whatever it's called, where you can jump the line when you're coming back in through customs, where you have to go to TSA and pay $100 and do the whole background check and all that stuff. Louise and I both did that, and then with that, we applied for TSA pre and instantly got it because we'd been through the whole TSA's background security thing. And I find the TSA pre is just spectacular. I mean, you don't have to take your computer out of your bag. You don't have to take your shoes and your belt off. No X-ray machines, no groping. You walk through a magnetometer. It's like you're back in the 1980s.
The TSA doesn't work. The failure was not with security. The failure was that the regulations did not say you can't bring box cutters and other items on the aircraft.
The problem with the box cutter is that the blade is less than an inch square, and you can conceal it pretty much anywhere, and it'll never be found. And if the box cutter handle is made of plastic, the exact same scenario that went down on 9/11 could easily be replicated today on any aircraft through any TSA station. I mean, that's something that any security specialist will tell you.
This is true. Now, where the failure of the airport security that for the airlines and somewhat for the charter side is the gentleman who worked the ramp. They don't have to go through security. They can bypass TSA security and come through back doors to get into
so they could fill the belly of the plane with just about anything.
Exactly. Those are the ones. That's where the failure is. And there's no criminal background check or any type of background check to work on the ramp. Well, I mean, there's a criminal background check, but it's major, felonies, sedition, murder, things like that wouldn't allow you to hold it. But it's not.
All of this, Steve, takes me back to this bigger question. I mean, was 9/11 the exception that proves the rule? In other words, was it just a wild anomaly? Was it a total outlier? We certainly engage in behaviors around the world that anger people to the point that they want to attack the United States. And we can debate foreign policy, and there are a lot of things that I think we're doing that we shouldn't be doing, and countries that we're supporting that I have doubts about, and all that kind of thing. But that said, even in the face of that, and even in the face of all the enemies we've made in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Libya and you name it, and other countries around the world where we've supported, like Nigeria, where we've supported the oil companies over the people, things like that. even in the face of all that, we really don't have a terrorism problem in the United States outside of, I mean, since 9/11, we've had more people killed by right-wing terrorists, by militia terrorists, by people who were killing people because they were black or because they were Jewish or because they were government employees. We've had more people killed by them than we have by Muslim terrorists. So, so it raises the question, to what extent is any of this really necessary? Have we gone off the edge and surrendered our privacy and liberties in a way that, where the cost-benefit ratio is just way out of proportion?
Yeah, it's most everything they do is unnecessary. If you've looked at the last few attacks for an aircraft in the last few years, they've all originated from outstations outside the country.
Right.
And if you're not going to force those countries to follow our security standards, then we've still got a gaping hole.
Yeah.
Keeping grandma from going to the gate to see the kids off on vacation is not going to keep the terrorists off the aircraft.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it concerns me somewhat. I mean, I'm not one of these guys who is all hysterical that we are teaching an entire generation to say yes sir to authority figures by having them go through the TSA. Although I will acknowledge there is something to be said for that. I mean, I think that there is a legitimate concern there that we are raising a generation of young people who don't know what anonymity is. I mean, there was a time in the United States when you could be anonymous, and that has pretty much vanished. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I personally think it's a bad thing. You go back and read the old Travis McGee novels from John D. MacDonald, you get a sense of this stuff. But anyhow, maybe it's a more existential question than a practical one. Steve, thanks for the call, and thanks for the information. I appreciate it. Good talking with a charter pilot.